Hi there, it's Kevin. Oh, I don't really want that for this, do I? That. That's better, but just where I don't want to be that big. Sorry, I've never I've never done this kind of thing before. Hello, gotta love Jasmine. All right, well that looks better. Okay, because this is different, obviously, from playing a game. Anyway, hi there, I'm Kevin. Today I am going to be watching and talking about a couple of videos that I made of a walk in the park that I took. Very different, yes. So it's early spring. I took this walk on March 25th, and obviously everything is there's no leaves on most of the trees, and the grass is just starting to green up. So this is if you know what a before and after picture kind of thing is. This is the before picture. So um, anyway, so we start out. We're not actually in the park. That's the sign for Lyndale Park. To the left is Lake Harriet, which is supposedly a separate park, but you can see, I mean, they're just right across the street from each other, so they border each other. Um, and this is just a sort of a panning shot to show, yep, there's the lake. It has walking trails and biking trails and all sorts of stuff. It's got a beach, um, got a place where you can rent pedal boats. Anyway, so this is a lot closer to that that Lyndale Park sign. Just giving another view of how close Lake Harriet Park is to Lyndale Park. So yes, right across the street there, that's Lake Harriet Park. Um, Here is the Rose Garden, which was sort of in the background of the last shot. You can see they've started clearing the beds, the rose beds, on some of the beds, and then the other ones they haven't cleared yet. They pile a bunch of like leaves on top of the beds for the winter to protect the roses. That brown thing in the background is a fountain. They put those sort of structures around the fountain itself for the winter to protect them. And on the right and the left, you can see the other entrances to Rose Garden part, the sort of iron gates. In the background, you can see there's a whole lot of trees. In addition to having multiple flower gardens, the Lyndale Park is an arboretum. So they've planted specifically a whole lot of different kinds of trees so that people, you know, look at them, see how they do. Yeah, Kevin the tour guide. There are benches all over the park too. So you can see right here there are stone benches by the fountain, but there's also wooden benches all over the place. Um, yes, there's a green hedge that is around part of the fountain area, and then there's sort of a flower area as well. This sort of marks the transition from the rose garden to the perennial and annual garden. Um, so this we're heading into now is the perennial and annual garden. That's a sundial. It says Count only the sunny days. Panning shot. There's another fountain in the background. That first fountain is called the Heffelfinger Fountain. I don't know why. The other one's called a Turtle Fountain because there are a lot of turtles as part of it. Here are some of the beds where you can just see some of the leaves of the flowers are sprouting up. And they're in through here as well. You can probably see just the beginnings of a bunch of flowers. And there's, let's see, off on the left there, you can see other people on another bench, and sort of right there in the background, there's another bench. So there's plenty of places to sit. Yeah, you can imagine, look at all of these plants in the summertime. It's just gorgeous in here. Why is the water not running? Because during the wintertime, if it ran, it would freeze and damage like the fountains themselves and the pipes that lead up to it. So they drain all the water out of the pipes, so they don't have to heat the water. I mean, if they heated the water, they could run the fountains, but that would cost way too much. You can see there's some planters by this fountain and more stone benches, an area of where there will be flowers as well. There's more trees. Yeah, the water fountains are also turned off in the park over the winter, and the bathrooms that have running water are also shut down over the winter time, just so they don't have to heat all those things. There's some more green stuff poking its head up. Yeah, so that's the perennial and annual garden and the rose garden. You just saw the sign for those in the background there. Now we are heading to the Peace Garden, which used to be called the Rock Garden. It feels like it feels real, huh? Okay. Yeah. And off on the left there's a informational, kiosk or whatever you'd call it, that talks about the park as a whole. All right, so here we are at Peace Garden and the Roberts Bird Sanctuary. We are going to get to the Roberts Bird Sanctuary in the next part of the video. I unfortunately ran out of space on my phone before I could video the whole walk. If you noticed on the right, there was sort of a rectangular stone block with some stuff on it. That's called the Pathway to Peace, and they have like sayings written on them, etched into the stone, and then gatherings of stone. This is the what is it? The crane, the origami crane sculpture was what that was. Here's the rock garden, and there's another bench. The origami crane sculpture has rocks around it, each of which have a plaque that tells you how to fold an origami crane, and there's something in there that talks about what that means in Japanese culture. So this rock garden is modeled. There's another bench. This rock garden is modeled after Japanese rock gardens, and it has water features, paths, and all sorts of greenery and flowers that grow. So there's the bridge, which is crooked because I think it's something in Japanese tradition about evil always has to travel in a straight line, so you make the bridge crooked so that it can't cross the bridge. I don't know why a bridge from nowhere to nowhere needs to be crooked, but it is. And on either end of the bridge, there are small stone monuments, one of which came from Nagasaki and one of which came from Hiroshima, which were the two cities that the United States dropped atomic bombs on at the end of World War II. That's a sign pointing the way to the sanctuary, the bird sanctuary. In a moment, we will see the only blooming flowers right there, the only flowers that I could see that were blooming in the entire, gardens. All right, so now we're going to be leaving the Peace Garden. Yeah, it is a very nice bridge. It's yeah, if you're there, it's also got like hammered metal, bronze or brass, I think, something like that, um, on it, and it's cedar. It looks really nice up close. I'm not going to be showing that in the video, but you saw it from a distance. Anyway, so there's walking trails all over the place that go back into sort of that wooded area back there, and we are going to be walking on one of those trails in a few minutes. But I wanted to show that an arboretum is a place where you're supposed to be able to learn about trees. And a few years ago, they actually started putting signs that would tell you, so that this, for instance, is a sugar maple, and it tells you all about sugar maples right there. More benches. That structure in the background, I believe, is to provide a habitat for a certain kind of bee. Not the kind that makes hives, but a kind that actually will use like dead wood and burrow into it. Here's another sign about a tree. This one is a tulip tree, otherwise known apparently as a yellow poplar. So they have these signs in front of a bunch, but not most of the trees. Okay, so yeah, I mean, a small percentage of the trees. There's a lot of trees in this park. And this is that's got a very long name. Give me a moment. Lyndale Park Perennial Trial Garden, Hummingbird, and Butterfly Garden. Had to look that up. So all along here, not the trees, but the plants that would be growing right now. There's another structure for the bees right there on the right. Many of them are trial plants that are planted to see how well they do in Minnesota, because Minnesota winters can be very hard on plants. There are a couple of very big pine trees. It's really nice right here in the summertime when it's hot. It's nice and shady right here. So a nice bench to hang out on right there during the summertime if you want to get some shade. Okay, the cloth things are basically to protect some of the plants for the winter time. Everything's about the winter here. All sorts of evergreens. So even in the wintertime, there's plenty of green in the park. So that's nice. Just bushes and trees, and you see some ground cover there. It stays green all winter long. There's another one of those pathway to peace things, and you saw the sign for this particular garden in the background there. More protective coverings for plants. But this is all just beautiful during the summertime. There were a couple people walking dogs and not wearing masks, so I decided to take a side trail, except it doesn't, I mean, the trail itself sort of peters out, and then this is not really a trail, and I apologize for video of a tree and the ground right here, but I was just trying to get back onto this path over here. You can see they didn't used to do this, but they've started putting branches down to mark where the trails are. And this is a nice sort of wooded area back behind where that trial garden is. It feels very peaceful back here. The The bird sanctuary is even better for that, but that'll be coming up in a few minutes. It is very natural right through here, yes. Though just to the right, I'll pan over, there's the cemetery. So the park borders a cemetery, a very large cemetery. But as long as you're not looking in that direction, it's very natural. When you look to the right, it's a giant lawn with stone monuments to dead people. But yes, this is a very nice path. People go hiking on this path all the time, or some of the other paths. There are side paths that you can go along. Here comes one of them now to the left. And yeah, don't know what that thing is. That boxy thing, I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're going to go down this way to get up against the fence here. But to the left, it still is very natural. So those white things there are to protect new saplings, little tiny trees that they've planted. They're always trying to upgrade the park, do nice things. There's another side trail. Do nice things to make the park better. There's like a volunteer organization. Oh, there's a little, I don't know what that was. Little ground squirrel, little chipmunk maybe. Anyway, so that's what these white things are. They're there to protect new trees that they planted. Yeah. Okay, so that is the first video. Let's go to the second video. All right, so we're heading back to the rock garden. My phone only wants to record a certain length of video, and I didn't notice that it had stopped recording video. So there's a gap there, but that trail goes on for a while more, and then you come out into the rock garden again. Back to, here's the sign for the bird sanctuary. The only blooming flowers in the place. Sort of a pan of the entire rock garden. And now we are going to head to the bird sanctuary, which is even more natural looking than, and there's a couple people walking their dogs. Hey, somebody's got a mask on. Yay! But they really are not supposed to be bringing their dogs into the bird sanctuary. Kind of annoying that they were at least heading in that direction. Yeah, the weather was really nice that day. You can see that one person has a short sleeve shirt on. Anyway, so they were taking that way. I'm going to take, yeah, you can even see there, I think it said on that sign, no dogs. They took the path to the left. I'm going to take the path to the right here. You can see lots and lots and lots of trees. Really nice and quiet in here, except we're near an airport, basically. We're on a flight path for an airport, and so planes fly overhead every once in a while. I don't know what that green thing is. That's the same green thing we saw before when we were on the trail. I think it might be like an electrical thing of some sort. I don't know. But yes, they have trails back in through the bird sanctuary. You can see all sorts of birds, not a whole lot this time of year. because the birds haven't come back. Most of them haven't come back from the south. The Roberts Bird Sanctuary, yes. We're going to turn down this trail here to go to the pan up to show all of the trees. To go to the, there's sort of like a bog, a small swampy area in the bird sanctuary, because it's a sanctuary for waterfowl like ducks and geese and stuff like that, in addition to all the other kinds of birds that hang out here. So I'm going to meander down this trail. This one is not as well marked as some of the other trails are. You can see where it is, obviously. It doesn't have the the logs or branches marking the edges of it. But yeah, it's really natural in here. Really feels wild almost, even though you're right in the city. And you're really not that far from the cemetery. You can see the cemetery there in the background, in that pan to the right. But in this bird sanctuary, I have seen deer, and all sorts of other small mammals, squirrels and chipmunks and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of different kinds of birds. I don't really mark it down. I'm not a bird watching enthusiast. I do enjoy seeing pretty birds, though. Here, this is coming up on the wetlands area. Apparently they're doing some. Yeah, that shows there's a lot of water there. They're doing some improvements. That's what that yellow caution tape is about. And they laid a log, fairly large log across the trail, basically saying, "Hey, don't keep going on this trail. We're trying to restore some of this area." Well, okay, excuse me a moment. Rare Gremlin, thank you for that follow. I didn't announce this or anything. I didn't expect anybody to show up, really. Restoration in progress. Please do not disturb. Anyway, so you can see there's all sorts of water plants and cattails and yeah, it's all swampy and boggy. So you really are not supposed to walk into that area, because you'd start sinking into the ground. So I turned around, and I didn't want to show the same section of trail from the other direction. So I stopped the video for a little bit. Anyway, so but this is back on that same trail. Basically, I turned around because the trail dead ends there with the restoration area, and here's a little bit of the same trail from the other direction, but I didn't want to do the whole thing. You can see once again, that's the cemetery in the background there. I think. Oh, background to the left, yeah, actually, so that's more of the park right behind those wooden fences. To the left, that the cemetery is. All right, so we're gonna go back out onto the main trail again. I believe it's called Boston Lane. Rock right there. Yes, Boston Lane. name of this trail. And the Park Service, the Minneapolis Park, whatever, trying to do stuff. They've got signs like this: don't put others at risk, stay 6 feet apart. Though there are parts of this particular trail, because it's a wetlands, where, like, to the right, there's swamp and water, and to the left, there's swamp and water, and it's kind of hard to stay very far apart from people, unfortunately. There's another bench on the left, so they do have benches and places you can sit in the bird sanctuary as well, including some, like, stumps that they've cut off at the right height for you to use them as, like, chairs. You can see the cemetery on the right there, behind those trees. Yes, there are lots of very old trees. Some of the trees in this park are the oldest of their kind in Minneapolis. In here, I don't think they have anything quite like that. There's a couple other people. So yes, this is showing to the right of the trail how, look, there's all this water here. There's one of the stumps that's cut to be like a chair. Oh my goodness, excuse me. We had burritos for lunch. I think somewhere in here you'll be able to see some ducks. Not sure when that happened. Anyway, you can see it. They keep it very natural in here. They try to have this habitat to be all like native Minnesota plants, growing about as wild as they can. Not sure why I'm pointing downwards that much right there. Yep, there's panning over. There's water on the right. There's water on the left. And there was my thumb, I think. So yeah, this is a decent length trail. I'm trying to see, is this where the ducks were? I can't see them in the video, but I know there were ducks in the water on the right at some point on this walk. So this video is actually going to end somewhat abruptly because my phone ran out of space, unfortunately. So I'm going to be planning on doing another video of basically the rest of this walk. It ends somewhere on this trail. I was very annoyed. And I have plenty of space on my SD card. It just really wanted to put, yeah, you can see all these very big trees. I just really wanted to put it on the internal storage, I guess. And that filled up. So the video had to end. What I should have done is just move some of the files. But I didn't think of that when I was out on the trail, unfortunately. A couple more people. There's a little hill right there. More benches. Laurel Gron has contributed 48,000 total to the excuse me, dream challenge. There's another one of, you can kind of see it in the middle there. That's another one of the tree stumps that they've cut into a chair. That's where it ends. So that was part of my walk in the park on March 25th. Yes, it's a very It was a very beautiful blue sky, partly cloudy day that day. Okay, well, that's all I really wanted to do today, this evening. Hope everybody, I don't know how many people are here, 5. I hope all of you enjoyed that. I don't really do stuff like that usually, but maybe I will do more of that in the future. So, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Let me just see. Or night. Most of you are probably in the United States. I want to see if there's somebody for us to raid. I doubt it. It's late at night. Yeah. No, there's nobody I'm going to raid right now. So, I will, yes, I will see some of you later. I hope you have a great night. Bye.